Learning to tie your shoes can be a daunting task for a child. So for my project, I chose to try to teach my two nephews how to tie their shoes. AJ, who's 8, had a little bit of previous experience learning to tie his shoes, although he wasn't quite yet an expert. Gavin, who's 5, had never been taught. I chose to take a social constructivist point of view in teaching and give them less and less scaffolding. I started with asking them to show me what they already knew about tying shoes. Right away, Gavin started to do the basic step in tying the shoes, in which you cross the first 2 and pull it through to make the base of your knot. AJ started to try to do what I call the loop, swoop, and pull method, which is what his dad had taught him once before, but he hadn't yet mastered. After figuring out what they both knew, I tried to teach Gavin the bunny ears method. He was successful with assistance. However, as you can see in the picture, he started to make the bunny ears very large and toward the top of the shoestrings as opposed to the bottom, near where our knot just needed to be. AJ was just watching for now, and when he tried, he was immediately successful with the bunny ears. AJ continued to practice the bunny ears while Gavin and I worked through some of the kinks. Gavin actually made his bunny ears all by himself on the 3rd try. They were even down close to where the knot actually needed to be. AJ was quickly becoming an expert and ready to move on to learning the loop, swoop, and pull. While I had Gavin still working on perfecting his bunny ears method, AJ really wanted to learn the loop, swoop, and pull. It was amazing to see the difference in their fine motor abilities. Gavin was having a harder time making the loops and finding the hole, and AJ was ready to do a more difficult method. He was struggling with it a little bit and even once told me, "Dad showed me an easier way," even though we were both teaching what I would call loop, swoop, and pull. At this point, I had showed AJ and Gavin the 2 different methods for tying their shoes several different times. So I backed off a little bit, and I let them try them on their own several times. They wanted to be done over and over, but I wanted them to practice until they felt really comfortable with the idea of tying their own shoes without any assistance. At the end of this mini shoe tying lesson, we transitioned to having them put the shoes on their foot and actually tie them there, since in real life, that's what they should be doing. I had them do it a few times on their own to make sure that they could do it completely without my assistance. Gavin did perfect his bunny ears method, although he never tried the loop, swoop, and pull, and AJ was successful at both, although he did prefer the loop, swoop, and pull method. It might have had something to do with the name. They were both successful because I was able to take into account their learning and their age differences. AJ had experience in tying his shoes while Gavin did not. AJ was more adept at tying because he was able to put the loop through the hole where it belonged, and Gavin was still having difficulties with that. But as his fine motor skills progress, he'll get better in time. I was able to use less and less scaffolding and start with the idea of modeling in order to teach them this skill. Overall, I think it was an extremely successful lesson, as I called their mom the next day, and they were still able to tie their shoes. The real test will be, give it a couple weeks or a month. Through the summer, when they're wearing flip-flops, let's see if they're able to retain that knowledge of tying those shoes.